All right, thank you for bearing with us and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's CI Compass webinar. Today, we are so excited to highlight our CI Compass Fellowship program, or as we refer to it, CICF. This program introduces undergraduate students in the United States to cyber infrastructure and provides opportunities for them to engage with NSF major and mid-scale facilities. There are two components to CICF. We have the Spring program, which is a 12-week virtual training program where students learn skills needed for a career in cyber infrastructure, as well as are introduced to the data lifecycle, especially within the context of NSF major and mid-scale facilities. Also, we have the CICF Summer program, where students are able to perform hands-on research with an MF throughout the summer. I was going to put the website in the chat, but oh, maybe no, I think I can only do it to host members, which defeats the purpose. So if you want to Google CICF or CI Compass Fellowship, then it should pop up for more information. So in today's webinar, you'll hear from four of our wonderful CICF alumni who will share their experiences with the program, the projects they've worked on, and how the fellowship influenced their academic and professional paths. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our panelists today, who are Nona Nersisyan, who was in CICF in 2022, Mahee Shah in 2023, Raymond James Gallant in 2024, and Ejay Aguirre in 2020. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll have you guys go around and introduce yourselves and let us know what year you participated in CICF. I kind of already did that, where you attended school, and what you're doing now. So let's go ahead and start with Nona.
Hi everyone, my name is Nona. I'm currently a software engineer at Uber, but I did the program in 2022 spring and 2022 summer, and I went to USC.
Go ahead, Mahee.
Hi, I'm Mahee. I went to go to the University of Iowa. I'm graduating this May, and I'm going to be joining Collins Aerospace as a software engineer.
Raymond?
Hello, my name is Raymond James. Currently studying at Eastern New Mexico University, graduating this spring. I'm currently working as a work-study intern in the cybersecurity office currently, and I graduated the CICF program in 2024.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start with why CICF. So first, what first got you interested in applying to the CI Compass Fellowship Program? Now you guys can just talk as you please. We don't have to necessarily go in order.
I saw the opportunity when I was a freshman, so I was really new to computer science, and I didn't have a lot of direction in what career path I wanted. So the fellowship was a great opportunity for me to explore new fields apart from the traditional software engineering pipeline. And I got to learn a lot about large computing systems, and I got to work at NCAR, which is a national science facility. And it was actually a really, really great experience for me. So I really wanted that experience as a freshman, which I was able to receive. And that's why I chose to do it.
Yeah, I also agree with Mahi on that. It was definitely, especially the spring program, we kind of got introduced to a lot of different tools that people use, especially in the research field. And I think it was a very non-traditional computer science fellowship, which was great because we got to see kind of the two different sides of it. So I would go to school, I would get do the projects that was for my major, and then I would come to the spring and summer program and I would be exposed to something completely different, which honestly the things I learned as a freshman in CICF then later got brought on when I was a senior, which was great.
For me, it was pretty interesting. I was actually on the wrong mailing list for one of the professors here, and they sent me the email to apply, and I did it. My background is actually information systems, cybersecurity, and so the traditional computer science topics I had some familiarity with, but I wasn't like a super programmer or anything like that. And so going through that and looking at it from the policy side and the cybersecurity, and then actually getting the technical skill was really valuable for me.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ejay Aguirre. I attended the CIF program in 2025, just last year, and I'm a data science student at the University of Utah. I'm currently a research assistant at the Neuroergonomics and Occupational Behavior Laboratory, and so far right now I'm just doing research. It's great to be here. Yeah.
Before joining CICF, what did you think cyberinfrastructure or the NSF major facilities were? And did your understanding change after participating in the program?
I was pretty new to the field. I was actually a spring admit, so I probably applied a week or two after I started my journey as a computer science student. So I was pretty new to everything. I wasn't really too sure. I had heard about NSF major facilities before, just through, researching different fields. But I think it was great seeing how big of an impact NSF major facilities actually have and how many different projects there were out there that I wasn't aware of.
For me, before the fellowship, I really thought of cyber infrastructure as like supercomputers and large computing clusters. But after the program and even during the program, I really realized it was like an entire ecosystem, computing, storage, pipelines, and it all allows scientists to really collaborate. And the projects I worked on specifically really made me appreciate how how that infrastructure supports science and computing. So.
Yeah, for me personally, I didn't know anything about an NSF major facility. I grew up in an agricultural community, and so I didn't really have any technology background. And I also go to a very small university in rural New Mexico. So we don't have like a typical R1 designation where you're doing a lot of research. They're really small modular projects that we do here. And so being able to see all of this interconnection and how this data transfers all across the world and the country was fantastic for me. It put the concepts together for the socio-technical system as well. There are a lot of components that go into this that are not just information systems or specifically like hard science-based things. So understanding that it really takes the whole village to get these projects together was really fantastic for me.
One thing that I only before joining the CIF program, I only had like a surface level of knowing what cyber infrastructures are. I just thought it was like something technical that collects data and just a big machinery of systems. After the CIF program, it definitely brought in my knowledge of what an infrastructure is. It basically is about like collaboration, coordination, and documentation, especially where all these coordinated systems just interconnect with each other. And that's what makes an infrastructure. And it drives into supporting scientific discovery, which is awesome and cool. Yeah. I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and I'd love for you guys to, I know you guys did a lot during your summer programs, but just kind of briefly touch on what you did during the CICF summer programs, where you were and what you did, kind of high level. Let's start with Nona. Yours was a different one. Let me catch the audience up that Nona was in our first year of the program, and so we didn't have NSF projects at major facilities yet. And so go ahead, Nona.
I think it was still pretty cool what I worked on.
Great.
But I actually talk about it all the time throughout. I'm as I mentioned, I was a freshman when I was working on that, so I've brought it up every single time to a lot of my professors. They're always very impressed. But what I did over summer was we were there were basically zooplanktons that had to be the images of these zooplanktons had to be classified, and we basically built the pipeline to classify these images and also ended up getting published, which was great, and it was a great experience. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I worked at the National Center for Atmospheric Research. I actually worked there for 2 summers. So my project was focused on improving the workflows for accessing the really large climate data sets. And I worked on building a kind of smart data download tool that automatically selected the fastest servers when we were retrieving the data from Duratio, which was a supercomputer. And I also worked on analyzing climate simulation models, and we worked on the Greenland ice sheet mostly. So yeah, that was really cool.
I also worked at the NCAR with Brian Dobbins over the summer in 2024. And there was a lot for me to learn initially to be able to actually contribute anything. So parallel computing and HPC environments, I had never touched one or even been like remotely affiliated with one. So that was really interesting for me to go through and learn the different steps in how the software lifecycle goes. And approaching that from a security standpoint, there were a lot of things that I learned when you start adding in multiple systems versus just like your standard enterprise system that I typically work with. And so I got to learn a lot there, a lot of programming in Python and a little bit of Fortran, and just really looking at the community Earth system model as a whole. And so that was my initial one. I recently went on the trip to Alaska, and on the boat there, that was more of my expertise, securing firewalls, building network infrastructure, virtualizing, doing the VLAN systems and everything else. That was where I excelled and I learned quite a bit. But I used a lot of transfer knowledge with the data science and all the different processes that are going on there. So really just locking things down and keeping your information secure and verifiable is really the thing I learned there.
Wonderful. And what Raymond means by on the boat up to Alaska is that he was got to be on RV Sikuliak, which was and as a part of the STEM Seas program, like a 1 week quick little program where they went between Hawaii and Alaska. It was a very special opportunity, I think. Okay, go ahead, Ejay.
Thank you. And then I worked at the Ocean Observatories Initiative in the summer of 2025. There, I worked with a large ocean data set from that can span like I believe 12 years. There, I just calculate or like I took an API request, grabbed some of the temperatures data, and tried to analyze it in comparison to some climate patterns such as El Nino and La Nina. And then I also grabbed data from other infrastructures such as Ocean Networks Canada and uh, NCAR as well. There I got to learn a lot about reproducibility and APIs and got to publish that on Zenodo, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so now switching back to the spring program, what were some key takeaways from the spring program, and do you feel like it helped you prepare for your summer work, and why?
I definitely think it did because I remember we were covering different libraries that could be of use whenever it came. And then when it came to the summer program, it was great because whatever we were working on, whether it was pandas, I remember that's when I was first introduced to the library pandas, and not a lot of people knew about it back then as well. But it kind of gave little bits and pieces of things that could help us over summer, and it was great referencing back to the documents from the spring that could later on be used.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. I personally, before the fellowship, didn't have any experience in cyber infrastructure. So when I went into the summer my project for my project, having that context and just like being able to understand how what I was working on fit into the larger um, map of things was so helpful for me. And things like reproducibility and like the data accessibility and stuff that we covered was extremely helpful during my work over the summer.
I definitely agree with Nona in the beginning. Having the access and the teachings regarding the different libraries was super useful. I had never parallelized my code before, and so understanding Pandas and NumPy and then moving that into the Dask framework was excellent. I shortened the learning curve a little bit for me. And another thing that I thought was really valuable was the version control system. Using Git and actually working with it, as I had never really pushed any code before. It made it really easy to roll back all the mistakes that I made over the summer. And so I was like, yes, okay, like I can fix this. And that was a really valuable skill for me. I use it every day now, working with threat intelligence. We build a lot of our own tools off of open source frameworks. And so it's outrageously helpful to look at that exact thing that I did last week when maybe I was a little bit tired and being able to fix that. It's very helpful.
Yeah,
Super relatable.
yeah, and
But
then like trying to well, they already got the so going back to like version control and reproducibility, I think like a very important thing is also documentation. When it comes to those types of things, documentation is rather very important, only because some data can have some granularity, and if other researchers or other persons such as students also want to try and reach out to like that research itself, I think, or like that data documentation is really important. And referencing back to like the data life cycle is something that the spring program definitely helped me for the summer program.
wonderful. It sounds like you were well prepared, and we're really grateful for that feedback too. I was just thinking that I'm going to look or listen back to this to make sure we star everything that we learned to make sure that it continues on. Do you feel like your work contributed to the mission of the major facility, or not? Could be a quick yes or no, or did it have bigger impacts than just the summer?
I definitely think so. Well, my summer project wasn't with the major facilities, but I think in terms of bigger impact and maybe my own career in general, the research that we were providing, it definitely did, especially because we were going over deep learning. And we learned a lot about that as well. And I remember at the time, again, nobody really was diving into that type of research. So it was good. It was a good kind of intro before people started researching things like that.
Yeah, for me too. So a big part of NCAR's mission was to make like climate data accessible to researchers around the world. And so by improving like how we fundamentally download data sets and access them, it makes the process so much faster and more efficient worldwide, not just within NCAR.
Personally, for me, I don't think I really wrote any code that was usable in the greater scientific mission. There were some things that I definitely learned and applied them to other projects. And so the transfer learning was valuable, but for the actual NCAR, I don't think they used any of my code.
I would agree too. I would hope so that my project definitely left an impact. I would assume it would be like the first steps into figuring out what the basics of data documentation would be for different infrastructures, because from my experience, different infrastructures have different approaches to how they collect data and how they manage it. And OOI definitely has a great system into how they manage data and also provides data to users. And I would guess just say that it would be like the first steps into seeing how we could have a coordinated system into managing data.
Excellent. And I guess that was a little bit of a leading question because we do know that all of your stuff was useful. We meet with the MF leaders after your summer, and they all had just wonderful things to say about all of you. And EJ, I think that some of your stuff was actually even published, like your GitHub was also published. We should link that in the chat too, if I can. If I have a
Yeah.
second at the end, I'll do that. So we're all really proud of the work that you did, and as were your mentors. So. Great job to all. Um, okay, so let's kind of switch over to skills growth and career impact. So, what technical or professional skills did you gain? And have you applied them? Some of you guys have talked about this, but have you applied them on another project or job or lab?
I think I briefly mentioned some of the things that I had applied, but other than the ones I had already mentioned, I actually went into research a bit more and I did research my senior year as well. And it was great, kind of. It was also at like a USC institute as well because my summer was spent at a USC institute, but it was great kind of applying the skills that I had learned previously to a different institute there.
I talked a little bit about like the technical skills I gained in Python, and like I worked with Duratio a little bit too. But most importantly, I think I learned how to communicate across disciplines. So I worked with a lot of scientists, and I really had to learn how to like explain things and think about things differently than just the straightforward computer science pathway. And this summer, I'm going to be participating in the ASU X-ray free electron lab. So I'm definitely going to be using all the research skills I learned, and it really helped me get to where I am today.
Great. I didn't know that you were going to do that this summer. That's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about it.
So a lot of the skills that I learned through both the spring program and the summer internship directly applied to my field elsewhere, especially as a confidence booster. Previously, I always felt like when I wanted to build something that didn't exist, that it was a really daunting task. And then I seen people that have millions of lines of code regularly working with them and large models. And I was like, okay, this is totally doable. I can do this. Moving from that, using some of the background knowledge that I have through my traditional schooling in cybersecurity and things like that, and then taking courses at Carnegie Mellon over the summer with threat intelligence, I decided that I wanted to build something that cost typically $20,000 for a subscription, and a smaller organization can't afford that. And so I had the confidence. I was like, okay, I know the basic building blocks of how to get this together. And you also don't have to write the software all on your own. You can find reusable software, which was major for me. Going through the modularity portions of it, I can kind of piece it all together and build it now. And I actually have a working prototype in progress right now. And we're going to be using it at my local university, which is small and couldn't necessarily afford a full-scale security operations center. All of the tools exist. You just need to piece them together. And learning how to glue these things together was like fantastic. I really did learn a lot. And that directly came from CI Compass.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I guess to add another point is definitely learning how to portray data in a storytelling method. Uh, because I just think like the audience doesn't really understand what the data is telling us. Only like professionals or researchers or even scientists only does. So having that skill to understand your data and portray it in such a creative way, such as storytelling, is definitely an important skill I got from this internship. And yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Did the fellowship influence your academic or career path at all?
I think I also mentioned this in the last question, but yes, it did. It definitely helped me decide what I wanted to do my last semester. I kind of had a free semester where I had to choose what to spend that, where to spend that, and it was my experience with doing research definitely impacted that, and I decided to kind of give it a try for a little bit, and yeah, that's what I did my senior year.
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit too. I'm going to be doing research again this summer because I just loved working at NCAR my first summer. And also, it influenced my career pathway because I realized I'm a lot more interested in science, not just um, computer science and the technical aspects of it, but how my work really makes a difference and an impact in the real world. So it really influenced not only my career path, but like how I moved forward throughout college and all 4 years and the opportunities I took.
I feel like it made a major impact in my academic career and my career choices. And also, not just the program itself, but the people involved in it. You guys have all been my mentors along the way and even afterwards. And not just the skills that we learned, the hard skills, but the how to communicate. There's a lot of things that I've learned through the CI Compass program afterwards that I have been able to use regularly, and also the recommendations and the support are huge. You can get into rooms that previously I probably shouldn't have been in. And now I'm in there doing the work, learning the thing, and at a rapid pace. So I really appreciate that.
Definitely, I agree. The program definitely helped me in a lot of programs and steps through the recommendations and just the experience overall. Um, in my case, data science, it's a very interdisciplinary major. But ever since this summary program, it made me want to like actually go into a minor which was environmental sustainability studies. So I would say yes, it definitely impacted my career path and as well as my academic path.
Wonderful. That just makes me smile very big. And we're again so proud of where you all have ended up. Um, okay. Looking back, is there anything you would have changed about the program or like to see added to the program?
I honestly don't think so. I really enjoyed my time. There wasn't anything that I would have changed.
I really enjoyed the program as well, especially the people and the mentors we got. Maybe one thing that I would change is maybe people could share the work they're doing over the summer and collaborate in some sort of way, because I know a lot of other people that were in my cohort worked on some really cool projects as well. So that would be cool to be able to see what other people are working on too.
Were we doing the symposium then?
Yeah, we
Okay,
were,
okay. But
but
like during the summer to be able
yeah,
to,
but
yeah,
I
that's cool.
think I think my symposium was, or yes, no, it was during the school year. Yeah, you're right.
What was it? We
I,
usually do it in August,
yeah,
but still, that's a really cool idea to be able to maybe have some more touch points earlier in the summer so that you guys know what you're working on during the summer, and who knows, maybe even have a chance to collaborate or share notes.
yeah.
Great idea. Cool.
I personally wouldn't really change anything. One of the things that I thought was really great is that once you were in the NSF ecosystem, there were even more resources, and you guys provided those. So, like Anvil supercomputing, fantastic. Like I was able to learn, okay, there's this thing, there's this thing. And so mapping it all together and learning now. The only thing I wish is that I could start over with the knowledge that I have now. Maybe I would be more effective. But I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
I agree. I liked during the spring program, you also sent out emails about other summer programs that the students could have applied to. And I agree with my Mahee with her idea and like collaborating with other students in the same cohort during the summer program. I think it'll just definitely open up ideas and like approaches to solving issues that some may like stumble upon. And yeah.
Yeah. We're also kind of along that vein. We're trying to amp up our alumni program and keep you guys up to date on what each other is doing because maybe there are opportunities in the future for you guys to collaborate, after graduation. So yeah, be looking out for that. And we're going to try to maybe we'll reach out to, I see that there are other alumni present during this webinar. So be on the lookout for emails from that because you all are doing such interesting things and we'd love to keep everyone in touch. Um, okay, and let's go to advice for future fellows. So what advice would you give students considering applying?
I think I went into this like right when COVID ended. So one thing that I would recommend for my program specifically was for more people to be in person. I think it at least a couple of days throughout the program. I think it really makes it more real and collaborative environment, more so to say. And another advice would just be to make use of every webinar and everything that's kind of given to you because it does end up coming up later in your career and it's good when you're already one step ahead. So I think some people were talking about version control. That's something a lot of the things that I learned in school I was introduced to at CI Compass. So it was great making use of these webinars that I was attending.
My advice would just be don't be scared. A lot of the process is overwhelming and you see all these big words and you're always going to think I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to do it. But personally, my best learning processes have been like when I'm in the middle of the problem and I'm figuring it out as I go. So you are more than capable. And the best part of the program is that it's a learning experience more than anything. So don't hesitate to apply and you know, you'll do great.
I think my biggest piece of advice would be to zoom out. I think often we spend a lot of time in one focused area, like in the terminal, things like that, personally. And so zooming out and seeing from a bigger picture how all of this really fits together, I think that's super valuable because often you have all day to program and be in your IDE and do all of these different little modular pieces. It's very rare that you actually get to interact with large systems at scale. And so just taking that in is really important. And also, I would say, don't be too interested in just one specific thing. Take the time to kind of figure out what you want to do. This is a really vast field, and skills are transferable. So being able to take a look back and say, okay, this works in this manner, and then this person uses this other type of technology, and looking at the full stack, I thought that was incredible.
I agree. I guess my piece of advice would be just to apply without any fear to any opportunities. The worst they could say is no. And if you do get like an interview or such, it just gives you practice to know how to do an interview. And I think it will just bring up your confidence level. It did for me. And yeah.
Wonderful. So I see that there are a couple students, current fellows, in our audience. What advice would you give students considering or entering the summer program and how they can get the most of it?
I would say definitely ask questions and make use of the tools you're also given. I think that's one thing that I was shying away from because I was so new to the field overall, but definitely asking questions gets you far ahead. So if you feel like you can't, you try to figure out for a few minutes, depending on what the problem is, definitely try to ask questions. It'll help you in the long run as well.
Um,
Great advice.
Yeah, networking is super important. A little bit of what Raymond said is don't kind of isolate yourself to your work and your project. There is so much to learn from everybody you're going to be around, whether they're in your field or they're not in your field. So just ask as many questions, talk to as many people as possible. Um, and something that also really helped me was keeping a journal throughout my first summer of the things I was doing, problems I faced, and like logging every single thing that I was working on because it feels very overwhelming at first, but if you keep track of the work you're doing and the problems you face, it gets a lot more easier. And even when you're communicating with whoever's mentoring you for the summer, it makes it a lot easier to kind of track down exactly where you're having issues.
That's great advice.
My recommendation would be to absolutely take advantage of your mentorship scenario. It's very rare that you have the capability to really pick the brain of someone with that much experience in your field. And I promise you, they absolutely want you to be there. They are not forced by any means to take you on, and there are no dumb questions. So ask away, really get the knowledge and the insights. That tacit knowledge is invaluable. You can't get that anywhere else, but direct one-on-one interactions with the mentor are super valuable. I see that Sarwar posed a question to us. What can be done by CICF to get more people interested and increase the program's reach? I don't know necessarily what could be done from an organizational standpoint, but I know something that each and every one of us can do is to tell people your experience, especially like under other students at your university, and explain to them the value because, like Sarwar pointed out, it's really difficult to understand the value that you're getting through these interactions if you haven't done it. And so by not doing it, you're shorting yourself. And that would be the thing I would say to them.
To add to that question too, I think it would be great to spread the word if CI Compass was at career fairs at universities. I know you're not directly offering jobs, but I think it would help a lot more students become familiar with what you guys have to offer and get a foot in the door, especially freshmen and like younger college students.
EJ, I saw you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I don't definitely agree. Just reaching out to or just having students in different schools can definitely help out and by doing outreach in the particular school. Um, and seeing how it also offers an opportunity for internships, I think also utilizing that would definitely be another aspect into getting with, more students involved. And then to also answer your question and how like advice for the summer program. I definitely agree. Fully utilizing your mentor is something that is very important. One thing that happened to me that I picked up on was how I like coded my plots. It was very ugly, and after speaking to my mentor, he made it better, and I picked up on that, and I continued moving on forward using that very plot advice, and that's just something. Uh, I would be very lucky to have because of the mentor who is, under many experiences and definitely has a lot of expertise in the field. And yeah.
Wonderful and great advice for, I wish we could go to career fairs. Getting us there would be a little bit challenging, but we do really heavily rely on all the alumni being able to kind of reach out to the right people once our emails go out. But we do also we'd like to go to more conferences and kind of be in those career fairs as well to kind of get a lot of students at once. So thank you for that advice, and we're hopefully going to do more of that in the future. Okay. Now, what I think this is going to be our last question before we turn it over for more audience Q&A. So what was the most memorable or fun part of, this says your summer, but it can be all of CICF. Like what was the most fun moment you had? It could be research, it could be something beyond that.
For me, it was definitely collaborating with the other two people in the program as well. We would kind of, if we were confused, we would reach out to each other, and it was fun getting on Zoom calls and just trying to figure it out together and seeing their point of view and seeing that the same questions that I was scared to ask, they also had. So yeah, it was just working with them was great.
I remember that when I started, AI was pretty new and fresh, and I was super interested in it. So, during one part of my program, I had let Brian, my mentor, know that I was interested in it, and he introduced me to one of the machine learning scientists there. And I spent the day with her and got to really play around with how they're like integrating AI and machine learning into their climate simulation models, and that was really cool for me to see. Um, and that was a really like memorable, fun part that I remember of my summer.
I think one of the most memorable things for me was the first time that one of my jobs actually ran successfully without any errors. I was super juiced. I was in my little office in the basement and I was like yelling at the top of my lungs. I was like, yes, it works. Like, finally. Okay. And then after that, it just kind of let me know, like, okay, I could do this. Previously, I thought maybe I couldn't, and now I can. So what else can I do? Because if I could do this, I could do anything. And that just kind of stuck with me all the way through. You miss all the shots you don't take.
Totally. And sometimes that feeling can um, go with you through your life. Like I still, when I get success, I can remember what it was like that first time it happened. And so you're chasing that feeling of like, yeah, she still got it. Okay, go ahead, Ejay.
Yeah, and my memorable one was during the summer program. This summer program with OI was a remote internship. Just having this huge remote internship was something memorable. It definitely motivated me to throw out everything I could possibly do, especially for like daily stand-ups where I would have to report back on what I've done. And it, compared to like in-person roles, I guess it's just some, I guess remote positions fit me much more because if in-person roles, if it's corporate, I sometimes just pretend to do work a little bit because I get it done. Whereas with remote roles, it's something like you have to push forward to get the most output and share that to the rest of the team. In my case, it was pretty special because I was not on the mainland. I was in a totally different time zone. I think I was like one day ahead, and just that experience was very memorable. How they accommodated that and how I tried my best to um, fit into that remote role. I think it was very much a privilege.
Yeah. That's a great point. We are trying to make more and more positions available in person because I think it's quite valuable to be in person. But at the same time, the reason why we are happy with our program, our spring program being virtual, is because there are so many situations where you're virtually working with people across time zones. And it's really important to be able to utilize, Mahee mentioned, your communication skills, not just in person, but to be able to collaborate with a team that across uh, time zones and different barriers. So good job on that. Okay, so thank you all for sharing your experiences and insights. It's really exciting to hear how this fellowship has shaped your work and your perspectives. Let's go ahead and open things up for questions for the audience. We will go ahead and wrap it up then. If everyone can please join me in thanking our panelists so much for being here today. We are, again, so proud of where you guys, what you guys have accomplished, and very thankful for you to come and share your experiences with us. We put in the chat the fellowship program for their previous projects if you want to read more about what the students did. Keep in touch. And yeah, without further ado, thank you for coming. Thank you, panelists, and we'll see you at the next CI Compass webinar.